Today we're going to talk about one of the most famous people in the Harry Potter wizarding world, Nicolas Flamel. Nicolas Flamel, what's interesting about him is he exists not only in Harry Potter folklore, but our folklore as well. An interesting thought has always been to me, what influences has J.K. Rowling taken into the Harry Potter universe that exists from our own? It could very well be that J.K. Rowling has taken influences from this Nicolas Flamel in our universe into the Harry Potter wizarding world. To look at the Harry Potter Nicolas Flamel, so we can get an idea on how it might have been influenced in Harry Potter, let's take a look at the Nicolas Flamel that exists in our own folklore. So Nicolas Flamel was an actual real person that existed in our history. He was born around 1340 in a suburb of Paris. He was a very successful scribe and became very wealthy when he married his wife Pernelle. The two were known for contributing to poorhouses and churches in Paris. You can still see Flamel's tombstone, and you can still visit Flamel's old house, which is now a restaurant. It is said that the house could possibly be the oldest house in Paris. On the house, you can actually see a quote that says, "We plowmen and women living at the porch of this house, built in 1407, are requested to say every day an Our Father and an Ave Maria, praying God that his grace forgive poor and dead sinners." So the question comes to be, how did Flamel turn into an immortal alchemist? The thought is that as a scribe with his wealth that greatly influenced Paris and other outside areas, eventually when a series of books were published, rumors started. The rumor books of stories, the most famous of these, in my opinion, were the Exposition of Hieroglyphical Figures, which was released in Paris in 1612 and later in London in 1624. The introduction of this book describes how Flamel traveled to Spain around 1378 to seek the help and find a strange book. The strange book, it is described to be a copy of Abramelin. It is rumored that Nicolas Flamel and his wife Pernelle decoded this book and replicated a recipe for the Philosopher's Stone. Sound familiar? Producing silver in 1382 after decoding this book, and later gold. Another was thought that Flamel and Pernelle found the elixir of life, which was rumored they later were able to drink, which caused immortality. After years passed, Flamel had become well known in alchemy professionals and was even mentioned in the works of Isaac Newton himself. It wasn't until 1761 that rumors throughout alchemy were in question. The validity of Flamel's story was also questioned. It was claimed that the story was made up about the Philosopher's Stone, but others continued to defend it and tried to say there were sightings of Flamel in the 17th and 18th centuries. So it's said in 2019, Nicolas Flamel reached the age of 679. However, he actually died in 1418. Nicolas Flamel in Harry Potter. According to J.K. Rowling, quote, "Nicolas Flamel is a historical character. Flamel lived in France in the 14th century and is supposed to discover how to make a Philosopher's Stone. There are mentions of sightings of him through the centuries because he was supposed to have gained immortality. There are still streets named after Flamel and his wife Pernelle in Paris." End quote. Clearly, in my opinion, that Nicolas Flamel has had some influence on Rowling in the Harry Potter series. Nicolas Flamel in Harry Potter was born in 1326. The original Flamel died in 1418, but the Flamel in Harry Potter died sometime between 1992 and 1996. He was the second oldest wizard, only to Barry Winkle, who lived until age 755. He attended Beauxbaton, which is rightfully pronounced Beauxbaton. In the film, they pronounce it Beauxbaton, which is a French wizarding school located in the mountains of France. This is where he met his wife Pernelle. It is said that Nicolas Flamel was in combat, but was inactive in the field by 1720. Later in life, in 1890, Flamel met Albus Dumbledore when Albus was a teenager. In the film Fantastic Beasts: Crimes Against Grindelwald, Nicolas Flamel helps in stopping Grindelwald. In the events of Fantastic Beasts, Flamel already is over 600 years old. Flamel was an exceptional alchemist, potions master, and had extensive knowledge of the dark arts. He was mastered in divination and could use a crystal ball to see events. He was capable of wandless and nonverbal magic. Flamel proved that he mastered alchemy and potions by creating the Philosopher's Stone and the Elixir of Life. Flamel and Purnell eventually embraced death by deciding to destroy the Philosopher's Stone. The Philosopher's Stone can turn any metal into gold, and the Elixir of Life will give the drinker immortality. Nicolas Flamel helped conjure the counterspell of Protego Diabolica and helped save the entire city of Paris in Fantastic Beasts: Crimes Against Grindelwald. Nicolas Flamel here showed his sense of leadership and counterspell ability when he got everyone together and said, quote, "Together in a circle, your wand into the earth, or all Paris will be lost," end quote. Nicolas Flamel, after helping stop Gellert Grindelwald, moved with his wife Purnell to Britain. In Britain, Nicholas and his wife continued to drink the Elixir of Life. The Elixir of Life will keep you immortal, however, it doesn't stop the aging of your body, which is why in Fantastic Beasts: Crimes Against Grindelwald, most likely you're seeing Nicolas Flamel age, and he has that frail, ancient appearance. Nicolas Flamel had a number of magical artifacts. His wand, which was an unknown length, wood, and core. The Philosopher's Stone, also known as the Sorcerer's Stone, and the Elixir of Life. His house in Paris and crystal ball, both that can be seen in the Fantastic Beasts films. And he had a phoenix embossed book that was used to magically communicate with witches and wizards. And he had a magical chalice. Nicolas Flamel was very connected throughout the Wizarding world, and he's even briefly mentioned on Albus Dumbledore's Chocolate Frog card. After Harry, Ron, and Hermione in year 1 stopped the Sorcerer's Stone, aka the Philosopher's Stone, from being stolen, it was decided that the Philosopher's Stone, aka the Sorcerer's Stone, would be destroyed, which would lead to Nicolas Flamel's death. Quote from Albus Dumbledore, speaking to Harry, "To one as young as you, I'm sure it seems incredible, but to Nicholas and Purnell, it really is like going to bed after a very, very long day. After all, to the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure." When Nicolas Flamel and Purnell finally passed away after embracing death, Flamel was over 665 years old. What are your thoughts on Nicolas Flamel? He is still looked at as one of the greatest alchemists in the Harry Potter wizarding world. What are your thoughts on the Nicolas Flamel in our folklore? What are some of the folklore that we have that has influenced the Harry Potter universe? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you would like to know more about Harry Potter and the Wizarding World lore, or other fantasy fiction franchises such as Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, The Witcher, or more, subscribe to Chase and Josh Factor Fantasy Podcast. The link is in the bio, or you can subscribe to Ridiculous Patronus on YouTube. Thank you, everyone. Have a magical week.